Oh, we had a little, at least on my end, there was a little hiccup on the intro video
Oh,
there. But
perfect.
hey, everyone, it is Friday. What does that mean? It is time for manufacturing e-commerce success. Oh, and we are excited for our show today because we're going to talk about achieving e-commerce success with Digi-Key. And I'm your host, Damon Pastolka, excited to be here today. My friend, my brother from another mother is right over there, Mr. Kurt Anderson. Take it away.
Damon, man, dude, man, are you just so fired up about this interview today or what?
This is
Man?
going to be fun. This is going to be fun.
Pure gold, man. This is pure gold. And like, man, we're digging back to your roots. I'm just so thrilled and honored. So, guys, Kurt Anderson here, my brother from another mother, Damon Pastolka with Exit Way, Kurt Anderson, and I'm just absolutely honored and thrilled to introduce our dear friend Nick Olson from Digi-Key Electronics. Nick, happy Friday. How are you, dude?
Happy Friday, guys. Hey, happy to be on the show. I'm doing great. As I mentioned, we're in about the 7th month of winter here in Minnesota, so that's maybe not going so good, but business is hopping.
Hey, but you know what? I live near Buffalo, man. So I'm like, Nick, I feel your pain, dude. Like we've got like 3 more months of winter. That's it. We're almost there. Like the winter, you'll be over before you know it. So, guys, we're just honored to be here. And so, drop a note in the chat box. Let us know that you're out there. You absolutely want to connect with Nick on LinkedIn. You want to, boy, if you are on your e-commerce journey, boy, we brought in an absolute powerhouse here. So, yeah. Nick, we're going to dive in. Now, you have a little connection with Damon. We're going to dig into that. We're going to talk about manufacturing e-commerce success. We're going to talk about manufacturers on how, like, say they're new to e-commerce. Boy, what a great way to really muscle up to align themselves with a marketplace and none other. And who would be better than a company like Digi-Key? But before I go there, Damon, you know what's coming. You know what's coming. So, Nick, I have a question for you, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, grew up in Minnesota, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe have you had a little excursion in the Dakotas. We're going to dig into that. But when you were a little boy growing up in Minnesota, who was your hero? Who was your hero as a little boy growing up in the great state of Minnesota?
Yeah, interesting question. So I'm a big sports guy. I don't know if I talked to you guys about that prior to this. So the first thing that came to mind when you asked that is actually Barry Sanders. Oddly enough,
oh my God,
being a Vikings fan, but I still love Barry because he was a great running back. That's what I wanted to be when I started playing football myself. That's I think as a child, that's who I looked up to.
You know what, Damon? That is the first time Barry Sanders has been mentioned on the program. Nick, I'm telling you, I did not grow up a Detroit Lions fan, but boy, I look forward to every Thanksgiving just for I felt it was a privilege to watch Barry Sanders play the sport of football. That is a phenomenal answer. Damon, that might be the earliest mic drop we've ever had on the program.
Yes. And I got to say, you are a glutton for punishment. Barry Sanders was a model of perseverance there.
Right.
Model of perseverance and just a fantastic player.
Yeah, what a great answer, Nick. That man, you made my weekend for that one. So, all right, let's dig in. And so, Nick, you're in you're in Minnesota. We're going to dig into Digi-Key, but let's we got to make this connection. So Damon, let's just get it out there. Let's geek out. We've got a little share your story. So you're watching Barry Sanders, big sports fan. You go off to college. I believe you're an electrical engineer by trade as you went away to college. Let's just share a little bit of your background so we get to know Nick a little bit better. And then I want to make this little connection with you and Damon in the Dakotas.
Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up right outside of Thief River Falls, where Digi-Key is headquartered. Didn't really know what the company was doing when I was growing up. Knew the name for sure, but there's other large manufacturers in the area of snowmobiles, Arctic Cat and Polaris, which are well known because everybody owns one up here. So lo and behold, I go over to UND, which is in Grand Forks, North Dakota. Was getting my electrical engineering degree and then wanted to participate in an internship. So I ended up going south to South Dakota in this case, and worked at Daktronics, which is another great company, well known for their large scoreboards, that they sell to pretty much every stadium on the planet. So
Nice.
I did a couple of years down there in Brookings, South Dakota, and another engineering school, SDSU, is right there, and pretty great college scene as well. I'll just get that out there too.
Damon, do you know anything about that college scene by any chance? I know you were too busy studying, but do you know anything about that stuff?
Yeah, I was kind of busy studying on the times I wasn't enjoying the college scene there at the SCSU.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. So,
but Daktronics, it's funny. I saw you did that internship at Daktronics, and it is really it's spun out of the college there with a couple of professors, and initially they really transformed the digital sign industry with a very simple magnetic based flip sign that you would see all over the US on just everywhere, and then just blossomed into all the other things they're doing now with technology changes, and it's really been quite an interesting story.
They have a great origin story. I love origin stories of companies. I know we're gonna get into the Digi-Key story as well, but that's very cool to see the evolution of how maybe a company intends to start, but how it shapes up over time.
Yeah. I absolutely love that, Nick. So let's dig in. So, electrical engineer. Now, I think you mentioned, snowmobiling. Did I see Polaris on your LinkedIn profile? Did I see that correctly?
Yep. I did some. I had a few stops there as well. So the first time that it really dawned on me what Digi-Key was is I worked in the tech lab at Polaris for one summer, and nice. I was in charge of keeping our inventory up so we could fix cable assemblies and things of that nature. And lo and behold, there was a catalog about this thick, 8 inches.
Yeah, the Digi-Key catalog.
The Digi-Key catalog was sitting right up on that shelf, and that's paging through it page by page, trying to match up connectors and make sure I'm ordering so that our tech lab would be stocked at all times. So that's kind of my at another company first exposure to working with Digi-Key.
Awesome. Okay, so we're gonna slide into I want to continue going on your journey, and then I'm dying to hear the origin story as you just mentioned at Digi-Key. But let's hear your origin story. So how did you end up? You've been at Digi-Key for what, 12, 13 years, I believe. How did you end up at Digi-Key?
Yeah, just over 12 years. So as we just touched on, I was at Daktronics. I ended up completing the internship, graduating. It ended up being around the tail end of 2009. So that's really some tough times.
Sure.
Yeah, the industry and economy. So it was difficult to find work, to be frank.
Right.
I just started applying to as many companies even as I could, and lo and behold, I got a call one day from Digi-Key. I showed up, had the interview, and I ended up getting a role in the tech support group, which has turned into the applications engineering team now.
Uh-huh.
And the rest is history. I've been there ever since. So spent about a year and a half in that tech support group, working directly with customers, helping them solve their problems, helping them choose products, you name it. And then I moved more into a business type role after that, at that point, into product management. So I've sort of been there ever since in some capacity, working directly with Digi-Key's supplier partners.
Awesome.
All
right.
Awesome.
So, hey, we've got some friends here. Damon today. I see Inger's here. Man, Inger, you were on fire. She was our guest on Monday. Whitney's here today. We've got Shahazad. Am I saying that correctly? I apologize for butchering. We've got Ryan here today. We've got Diane Byer. So, guys, again, we're here with Nick Olson from Digi-Key. Now, you might be asking, if you're not familiar with Digi-Key, man, we're gonna get in some numbers. I just want to give you $5 billion in revenue.
Yes,
that was a B. $5 billion in revenue. We're going to run through some numbers that are truly mind blowing. You're going to think I'm making them up, but if you're outside of the electronics world, you might be like, who? Is this a small mom? Who is this? Digi-Key? They are just a quiet monster. If you're outside of that space, Nick, let's dig into the origin story. I love this. This is really the accidental entrepreneur, man. Can you please just share Dr. Stordahl? it's like the late 60s. He's a PhD student at the University of Minnesota. Can you just share, like, how did this little brainchild, like, where did this come from for Dr. Stardahl?
Yeah. So he's from his hometown is Thief River. So that hence why we're located here. But yeah, he went down to the U of M to get his PhD. Dr. Stardahl is a ham radio enthusiast, and still is to this day. So he comes up with this invention that allows you to key in Morse code over ham radio, and he names it the Digi-Keyer. So it's a digital keying device.
Yeah.
And his original intent was to sell this to other enthusiasts, and that business didn't take off like he had originally thought it would. But at the time in the industry, you had to purchase everything in full MOQ.
Yeah.
So he had all these leftover parts laying around.
Oh my!
And he said, "What do I do with all this?" And he talked with his buddy that's also going to the U of M at the time, Mark Larson, also a Thief River graduate. And he said, "I think there's a business in this. We could just sell these one piece at a time, and other people probably need less than MOQ, right?" And they started their business really out of the trunk of a car, as I understand it. And then
this is awesome.
A few months gets going, they open up an ad in a local newspaper, and orders start coming in, phone calls start coming in. Eventually, they moved to the back room of Mark Larson's parents' shipping company. So they had a nice logistics tie-in as well.
Right.
And it just blew up from there.
And Nick, I have to, I don't mean to be rude. I have to interject real quick, guys. Now we're thinking, okay, well, just go on eBay, right? Dr. Stardahl could have easily, Damon, right? Like, hey, let's just go on eBay, or hey, just run. No, guys, like, this is 1972.
Yeah.
When he starts this business, like, just think about this. Okay.
Yeah.
So he has, like, I mean, it's even over my head, right? It's a ham radio. He has these components for his Digi-Keyer, and he's like, man, and think about the pivot here. Like, I'm getting chills, like, even think about this, right?
It's nuts.
Think about the pivot. We're like, hey, this doesn't work. What could I do? Let's throw in the towel. I have I have a PhD. Let me just go do something else. No, he takes a pivot. Let's sell the components out of, like, my buddy's parents' back of their business. Nick, please continue. I just wanted to give perspective. Like, it's 1972. Like, we're still 20 years away from the internet.
Yeah, exactly. It was a single page ad they took out with 30 some components. And I know I've got a few of my colleagues in the chat here too, if they want to fact check that. But
nice. Yeah, Pat's here today. Yeah, we've got some good comments going here. Keep the comments coming, guys.
Keep them coming.
So so they then pivot to a small order catalog as they're signing new suppliers. The catalog, is starting out very thin. It's getting bigger and bigger throughout the years. Around 1995, launched the first Digi-Key website, and that was huge, obviously, because before that, I mean, we launched before Amazon. I think that's something we tend to forget. Yeah. They were 3 years later. Now they also grew pretty well, so I can't say that.
Yeah, they did okay.
They're doing okay. They're a little startup in Seattle, but but we got the e-commerce going very early compared to a lot of others. Yeah, and that's really our hit. Kind of our journey from there. We discontinued the catalog about a year after I started. It was it was physically too large to actually add more pages at that time too. So we had reached the number of SKUs where it would be impossible to even make a catalog.
Right. It just was.
Yeah, that's mind blowing in itself. There's too many SKUs to make a catalog.
Like, for those of us old enough to remember, like, the old Sears catalog, like, it was So pioneer of mail catalog, and not even just in an electronic space, in any space. You're talking early 70s that he launches us just purely as an accidental entrepreneur. I love this story. 20 years later is a pioneer in e-commerce.
Right.
Yes.
So, I mean, just like totally on the forefront, cutting edge. It is just so impressive. So, Nick, I love how, just mirroring, like, your 20 years of project management, you come in, and again, if you're just joining us, we're here with Nick Olson from Digi-Key, and we're going to geek out hard on manufacturing e-commerce success. Nick, just like, How on earth are you guys so successful? Before we went live, and I could pull it up if you want to, like, you guys are just absolutely crushing it with numbers. What, like, is there a secret? Like, what's going on? What's in the water up there in Minnesota? What's going on with you guys?
Honestly, we say our secret sauce is the people.
Nice.
Pretty much almost to a person. If you ask that question, you're going to say it's 5,000 employees now, but it feels like 50. Feels like family. The people here are, coworkers, but best friends outside of work. I've been in probably 8 weddings, just meeting people here.
You need another job just to pay for all the weddings, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, you get it. Minnesota nice. We'd say Minnesota humble. I was looking at our inside page, which is kind of our intranet, and we still put out birthday notices every single day for every single person in the company who's celebrating a birthday. Like, that seems like a very mom and pop type thing to be doing when you have 5,000 people, but we don't ever forget that culture.
Yeah.
And I think that is our secret, to be honest with you.
Let's sit on that for a minute. We're hearing a lot of things about culture, between COVID and just, with a lot of diversity issues that we're talking about these days, just, how are you guys, how was he able to create such a dynamic culture and like blossom this family business into this monster $5 billion company?
Yeah, I think you look at almost to a person, everybody is willing to step up and do another job. And I'll say there's been times throughout our work history where that happens. So we'll say demand increased. I remember back in 2013 to the point where we didn't have enough human beings to pick the parts.
Yeah.
So I got the opportunity myself, and as many others did in more of a business role, to go down and help in the product distribution center.
Yeah.
So just having that knowledge, that skill set, being able to jump in when the company needs you, I think says a lot. And it's not just something that like the individuals do. When you go down there, Ron Stordahl is picking with you. And I think that's the coolest thing, is it starts at the top. The CEO is picking with us. All the VPs are picking with us. It's great. Nobody is too important at this company to do the little things that matter. And that's pervasive throughout every department.
That's incredible. And that is so special. Special.
Yeah, we've got some great comments coming here. Yeah. So Ingrid, she drops a great comment here. I'll grab that, Damon. People are everything. I think I saw a culture comment back here, and then Pat. Hey, Pat, thanks for joining us today. Pat's got your back here, Nick. He's saying,
he does.
Nick's not a liar here. Of the 5,000 people that work at Digi-Key, 4,000 are in Thief River Falls, and between 8,500, 10,000 people, depending on who you ask, town limits. We all kind of know each other, care about each other. That is what a great culture, what a great environment, great success.
Incredible.
So I want to go here, Nick. Let's talk numbers. Okay.
Sure.
We were geeking out. Damon, should I pull these up or not?
Jenny, she's picked parts there. So
Jenny's picked parts. That's
awesome.
We got to go up the Thief River and we got to pick some parts here.
Yeah.
So Nick, let me, I'm going to pull this up, Damon. I got to share this, right? Let me add this.
Well, it's so funny that when we were having Nick on today, that working at Daktronics, where I went to school, and actually it was one of the customers of the first company I worked for as well. But then now that you're at Digi-Key, that I can remember ordering parts when I was building automation equipment from Digi-Key out of the huge catalog, and you would call and talk to the tech service people because I didn't know what the hell I was doing, right? and they were so helpful. They got me the right stuff. And again, we had email at that time, but that was about it. You still had to submit the purchase orders and all that kind of junk to do it. It was crazy, but so cool to have you on.
Absolutely. Damon, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Oh, guys. But let me, I'm not, are we projected? I believe we are. Yeah, we are. Everybody should see it.
Is that Nick? Can you see this?
Yeah, I can.
All right, guys. So this is a client. This is Falcon Electronics, small, made in America manufacturer, founded in 1985, and they are a vibrant customer of Digi-Key, and they sell on Digi-Key. As a matter of fact, Digi-Key has been just a great resource, great partner of selling the products that they sell. And again, for a small custom manufacturer, they're like, man, I don't have the bandwidth, I don't have the budget to bang heads with Amazon and everybody else out there. But aligning yourself with a marketplace like Digi-Key, it really exposes you. But look at these numbers. This was a blog post that we put out 3 years ago. Check this out. Digi-Key. If you want a little background, I grabbed this quote. You just described that story, Nick, about Dr. Stordahl right here, right? And this is a quote from Forbes magazine. And then the numbers, 2.3 billion. 3,700 employees, 1.3 million items in stock, 99% of all orders are shipped same day, 15,000 orders, 474,000 customers served. Damon, this was 3 years ago. Yeah. Check out I don't know. Are you guys sitting down for this?
Yeah.
If you go to Digi-Key's website right this second, right now, we're looking at this live. They've gone from 2.3 to 5.1. They've gone from, 3,700 employees up to 5,000.
Yeah.
And look at this number. Customers served, nearly 1 million customers served. Their orders, even with COVID and supply chain, Nick, I want to dig into this. How on earth are you guys doing this? But 99% are shipped. And I did the math on this. 5.7 million internet orders. Damon, that's 23,000 orders per day.
Oh my goodness.
Per day.
Oh my goodness.
That doesn't include, over here is 6.5 million orders. So that doesn't include all their, so I'll stop sharing now. I'll come back to you guys. But I'm like, man, Nick, dude, how incredible. Are you guys, what went on the past 3 years through COVID? I thought the world shut down. Apparently you didn't get the memo. Did you know that there was a global pandemic over the past year? I don't know if you guys at Digi-Key knew about this, because you guys were just exploding. What was going on through the pandemic?
Yeah, we just ignored it. No,
right. Hey, we're not paying attention. It's not slowing us down, right? We're tough Minnesotans.
I think what helped us is being in a rural area. We wouldn't see as big of spikes as other folks.
Mm-hmm.
We also, safety is first and foremost for our employees either way. So we did precautions.
Yep.
We took some of those engineers that you talked to, Damon, and they actually took products off our shelf and developed ways to kind of kill viruses and things of that nature, maybe using a UVC LED that we sold off the shelf. So we came up with creative solutions on our own, actually, to mitigate risk. And we were able to keep operations running pretty seamlessly. Now, a lot of the office folks did pivot to more of a work from home and a hybrid model, which helped because we wanted to keep the headcount down that was entering the building so that the warehouse operations could continue. Yeah. But like you mentioned, at any time in Digi-Key's history when help is needed and someone sounds the horn per se to come and help, we're all there. It doesn't matter. So if we had a spike in Thief River and people were isolating for a week, 2 weeks, a bunch of us would go in and backfill that position, no problem.
That's incredible. In a 5,000 person company, you just do not hear that. Not hear that. Yeah,
absolutely. So Nick, let's dig into this. So let's say now talk about your job, your role, the type of clients, like your business development, as I understand. Am I close with your?
Yeah. Yep. So
let's dig into your role, who you're working with, who's a good fit for Digi-Key. Let's go there.
Sure. I'll take it back to when I started here in 2012 to kind of set the stage, or 2011, sorry. Digi-Key had about 650 supplier partners when I started, and I started the year after we hit the first $1 billion in sales. So it was 38 years to hit $1 billion.
So Nick, are you taking? I'm sorry. Are you saying you since Nick? I just want on the record. I want the company. Damon.
Yeah.
Since Nick joined the company, they now have passed $5 billion, right?
Yeah.
Look how long it took them to hit that first $1 billion, but then Nick comes on the scene, and now they're doing $5. Nick, I just want to, let's give credit where credit is due. Please continue.
I always tell my team we have better sales when I'm gone, so I can't take any credit for that.
There you go.
I'm just kidding.
But 650 suppliers that year is how many we had, and probably about 500,000 SKUs. You just showed the numbers in 2020, and you showed the numbers that we have now. So circa 2019, we launched a true marketplace platform within the Digi-Key catalog. So it's right there alongside, let's say, the traditional component type business that we are known for. 650 when I started, that would be a target in a given year for us now to try to seek that many new partners. And what we have done is we looked at the heart and soul of Digi-Key being electronic components. That's really the middle of the target, the bullseye. But what our team is interested in now in sort of developing that business is the next layer of products that goes around that bullseye. So we start to venture into finished goods. What are the components getting designed into? What are our customers selling? Can we partner with some of those guys and help them do some e-commerce stuff? What are we buying? We have a huge warehouse ourselves with all of these different materials needed to sell components. So it's likely that someone else needs this stuff too. So that's the manufacturing, repair, operation space that we're looking into. And really any number of emerging technologies, EVs are hot right now, hot conversation. Space, it seems like Elon Musk is in the news all the time. Maybe not for business reasons all the time, but you know what's going on out in the industry, and you just want to stay on the forefront of everything. So that's where our group comes into play, is being the tip of the spear for the company to make sure we're ahead on recruiting the latest and greatest technologies, serving engineers, electrical, mechanical, chemical, manufacturing engineer, basically anything engineering. We want to be the first stop for everybody when they're looking for a place to shop.
I'll tell you, that's fantastic. And I'm telling you firsthand, when I'm checking my client when they get orders, it comes to my phone and I'm like, hey, there's Digi-Key, and again, for a small little family business, they're not, shaking the world up, but boy, this is nice, steady income.
Yeah.
And Damon, like we always talk about, like, hey, who's your ICP? Who's your ideal customer profile? We call them who's that soulmate out there that's your ideal buyer? And like the clients that customers that my client gets, these are their soulmates. They're Fortune 500 companies, they're engineers. I mean, it's really a perfect fit. So Nick, let's talk to the new manufacturer out there. They're like, man, dude, like you're singing my song, you're speaking my language. This whole e-commerce thing is really brand new to me. How does this marketplace thing work? Like, if I put up my own e-commerce store, I'm talking at tens of thousands of dollars. Walk us through that relationship. Go from like the very beginning to like how that works and how you help that manufacturer.
Yeah, absolutely. That's perfect. Yeah, as you said, it's very costly to set this up on your side or on a supplier's website to get going. Not only that, just trying to draw an audience in is very
traffic.
Difficult.
The traffic is a tough part. Yeah.
Right.
You know what, Nick, and let's hit on that 1 second, and Damon, how many times, we've heard it, like somebody puts in a fair amount of money. They have a brand new website. And like, unfortunately, naively, they're like, oh, the spigot's going to turn on.
Yeah.
We're still the best kept secret, right? They still have to do all the marketing. And so Nick, I apologize, pick it up from there. Talk about how, partnering with Digi-Key just brings so much muscle to a small company.
Yeah, absolutely. You'll see that in the stats. I mean, again, fact check me on this, anybody, but I think we're drawing in 130 million visitors per year, and that's really hard to draw in, and it's constantly growing. Every year that number goes up.
I'm sorry, Nick, what? I didn't hear that number. What was it?
130 million.
100, dude, that's like 10 million a month.
Yeah.
A little over.
Yeah.
All right, 130 million visitors per year come to Digi-Key.
Right. And the value prop for a supplier is our marketplace is literally, there are no fees to sign up on our marketplace. Not going to get too deep into the business details, but you don't owe us anything until you start making money yourself. So we have folks on the webinar today that are actually part of my recruiting team. So they go out and have that initial discussion with a potential supplier. We get them to fill out an application. Within within usually 24 to 48 hours, we've got them moved over to the onboarding team who gets them set up in our platform.
Yep.
And in theory, you can be set up and selling in a day or two.
Yep.
We've had suppliers go live, apply on a Tuesday, live Wednesday afternoon if they have all of their product information and everything ready to go. So our team is built for speed. Beyond the marketplace, we also have other program options, and I think that's where Digi-Key is trying to differentiate itself a little bit from some of our closest comp. Is we want flexibility for potential partners as well. So there's marketplace, there's some other options, sort of like more of a consignment fulfillment model. There's logistics models. So we know that one size doesn't fit all. So we want to be able to leverage like all of our strengths and help customers out. So we're, logistically, we can ship everything from our facility. Everything goes out the door by 8 p.m. and it's on a plane to one of the UPS or FedEx hubs. So we're shipping worldwide within 72 hours.
Oh my goodness.
So I have a really dumb naive question. Again, like you're shipping 99.9. How was being in electronics? Let's get into this. All we've heard about, disruptions, shortages on chips, what's going on in that whole, from your perspective, Nick, what's going on with the whole chip situation, shortages, like what went on for the past couple of years? Where are we today?
Sure. So another thing Digi-Key has always prided itself on is not being afraid to carry inventory, and we stand by that message pretty well. So when a situation does happen, like the supply chain issues we've seen for the past 2 or 3 years, we were sitting there with in some cases a year, 12 to 18 months of stock anyway.
Wow.
And then we don't. In those cases, we don't want someone to just come in and scoop everything up. So we do put measures in place to make sure we still service the individual at home, the hobbyist, the student,
right?
The engineer doing his prototyping,
right? The
small tier or the tier 2, the tier 3 customer. We'll still get ship out to the CM at that point, but we just do different things to make sure that we are always servicing our entire base. We don't just service one portion of that base, even when supply chain is struggling.
I'm just flabbergasted, dude, because you guys, I'm looking at it on the map. That's why you're seeing me look over, because I couldn't remember exactly where Thief River Falls was, but you're closer to Winnipeg than you are to Minneapolis.
We are.
And you've got a town of 8,722 people in the city limits, and you have 5,000 people working at Digi-Key, and it's amazing. And what you're saying about planes, you just think of simple logistics. I mean, to get that stuff onto a plane by 8 p.m. where you're at, and not living in Minneapolis, where there's a huge airport right there, throwing it on a plane is nothing. I mean, you guys have to, there's a lot of coordination that goes on to do what you do.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
UPS,
incredible.
FedEx, and DHL all work underneath our roof. So they don't report to their main hub.
Yeah.
They all report to work here every day. So that helps out.
Does Dr. Stordell, does he have a book out? Because
no doubt.
Look at this thing, and just soak in what Nick is describing here. Okay. Crushing it on culture.
Yeah.
5,000 people, in an
acting
area
like 50.
Right. 5,000 employees, family culture. We stock 12 to 18 months of inventory. Do you realize the positive cash flow you need to have in a healthy balance sheet that is required to support your customer, to be that committed to your customers? On the cutting edge and a pioneer in mail order 50 years ago, in e-commerce 30 years ago, and now double your business during a global pandemic. I'm almost speechless
incredible
of the success, Nick. You've described a team culture, the family culture, so on and so forth. Take us further, man. How are you guys doing it?
That's it. I mean,
do you guys, I don't know if you ever take it for granted. Do you guys we really have a good thing going here? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, we talk about it a lot. We talk about it almost every time we're in a leadership meeting or anytime we're getting a business update from the executive team. It's always the people, treat the people right.
Yeah.
And you'll get good work. If you have happy people, you're going to see the company excel. And again, like I say, everybody's willing to pitch in when they need to. Just sort of, I guess, in our nature as Midwesterners is, I don't know. I go on Facebook and someone will put out a post. I need help shoveling snow, and literally you'll have 15 people responding to that.
Right. Hey, all right. I love it. So Nick, let's go here. So again,
cool.
Guys, I'm Damon. I just lost track of time. I think we're past the top of the hour. If you're just joining us, we're here with Nick Olson, who's just a dynamo at Digi-Key. Yes. If you're not familiar with Digi-Key, $5 billion. Did I say the right word? Did I say billion? $5 billion powerhouse. Nick, let's get into the e-commerce side of things.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, so for small manufacturers out there, I'm an e-commerce consultant, and what I preach and teach, like, hey, why figure it out on your own, man? Go find the companies that are successful, that have the marketing budgets, that have done it, that are there. Right. How you guys, because now we haven't even touched on your customer service is off the chart, right? Yeah. Like 24-hour service, shipping 99%, 99.9%. Let's dig into, like, from an e-commerce standpoint, like, what are some tips, strategies that you feel like that Digi-Key has really figured out that you could pass along to our friends here that are maybe new to e-commerce? Any tips or suggestions that you have?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's all based on available inventory as well. So like we just talked, Digi-Key is not shy from adding products. We're not shy from having inventory. I would say the same thing applies in this e-commerce model as well. The people that we are seeing the most success are the ones who are willing to have their entire portfolio online on our website. Not only that, but also able to go deep on that inventory. Volume price breaks, product information is absolutely critical for our customer base. When I say that, I mean data sheets, photos, parametric information. All of that stuff starts to bubble up in search engine optimization or SE, search engine marketing. Yep. Without that stuff, you really can't sell. We don't want to drive traffic to a kind of a blank slate or a blank page. That's not how people shop on our website. So that's the big thing for me. Is it's always been, you have to have the parts on the site. They have to have inventory showing. And you have to have the information, because when we look at the demographic of who's buying from us, less and less people are picking up that phone to call the tech support, like you talked about earlier, Damon. Folks my age and younger want to self-serve. They don't want to pick up that phone and call. I want the information in front of me so I can make a informed decision when I make a purchase. That's the two biggest things in my opinion. And then in the e-commerce space, if you can perform to a very quick lead time or shipping time, that's critical too. So we all got spoiled with Amazon Prime over the years, and frankly, that's okay, because if you can still hit that 1 to 2 day shipping, you're going to be right meeting the metrics that we set for ourselves and setting yourself up for great success.
Mm-hmm. Right. And so that's kind of the benchmark that you're setting there, Nick, is hitting that same expectation as Amazon Prime, right? In your clientele, I'm going to make an assumption, you're hitting purchasers, folks that are buyers, or a ton of engineers.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
so, a sophisticated client base, and like they need it now. I'm doing a prototype.
They want that data sheet. They want the diagrams. They want all that stuff.
We have a prototype that's, production's down or whatever the case might be. Like they need it now. And I love what you're saying. Could we hit on that? I think this is a really important topic. We talked with a lot of manufacturers about this. You said they don't want to pick up the phone. Did I hear you say that correctly?
I said, yeah. So engineers, I'll say I'm on the cusp between millennial and Gen X myself. So I'd probably fit that model. But today's engineer isn't going to pick up the phone and call tech support to get that information. They just want to self-serve. So that's where we talk to manufacturers and suppliers about that. You guys need to add not only the data sheet, the photo, parametric information, but related videos, white papers, blogs, articles, like literally anything that can be absorbed by that engineer is going to give them more confidence in making a purchase. So, and not only that, it's also helping you with your search results and things of that nature. So that's kind of where my mind goes in terms of how do I sell better? How do I get more exposure for myself?
Right. All right. Man, Damon,
Good stuff.
I told you this was going to be a blockbuster today. So it's completely hitting. You're checking every box, Nick, of what we really love to preach on the program here. I can attest firsthand. Again, I have no skin in the game. I have no affiliation with Digi-Key other than just being a raving fan.
Yeah.
But I can tell you firsthand, Nick, as Nick described, again, the client that I worked with, it was seamless. You guys made it so easy for a company that this was new, and just submitted a bunch of products, submitted the SKUs, went online, and within like 48 hours, bam, and all of a sudden an order. They can ship it themselves. You have a great program, as you described, that you can do fulfillment for your customers. So, guys, I encourage you, welcome you, invite you. If you're a manufacturer, whether you're catching this live, catching this down the road, if you have a product line that you feel that fits, I really encourage you to reach out to Digi-Key and just see how can you align. And, usually I try not to be salesy on this program. And again, like I have no skin in the game, but I'm just saying firsthand, Digi-Key is just a powerhouse. We covered culture. We covered e-commerce. We've covered the origin story, the accidental entrepreneur. And Nick, as we wind down, I could talk to you all day. We're going to start winding down here. Let's talk about the future for Digi-Key, future e-commerce. Like where are we going? Where are things heading from here?
Yeah, great question. I don't want to let all the rabbits out of the hat because we're always working on the next big thing. But I'll say again, we just try to be a little bit ahead of the curve when it comes to what's the next technology we should pull into our site. What's the next partnership program we should look at? How can we position ourselves to be known? Again, like I mentioned earlier, we're really well known in electronics. Mm-hmm. I don't know if we're the first go-to for other types of engineers at this point in time. Mm-hmm. I'll just say like automation space or industrial type applications. Are we the first guy they think of at this point in time? We'd sure love to be the one they do think of. So we're always cooking something.
Always cooking something. And Damon, every workshop, webinar, everything that we preach, there's a line that we love to share. It's like, make it as easy as humanly possible to do business with you. Damon, you always, if I have this correct, you always say frictionless, right? That's your word, frictionless.
Remove buyer friction.
And I tell you, like Digi-Key, I probably sound like I own stock in Digi-Key, and you're not even a publicly traded company. Yeah, you guys really have defined how to make it as easy as possible to do business.
Quality with company.
It's just you can tell we're Nick. We're a little bit like we're fanboys over here, if you can tell, right?
Yeah,
can you tell?
That's it, right? We know that there's other marketplaces in the world. There's other distributors. We get feedback all the time that, hey, it's great that when I need help, there's someone on the other end to help me resolve my issue, and that's what we pride ourselves in. So not only when a customer's calling in, but when a supplier partner calls in, we don't take that situation for granted either. Yeah. And it doesn't matter if your shop just opened last week or you've been a partner with us for the full run of 50 years. You are going to have someone here that is going to help you be successful, and that's kind of the message I would want anybody to hear is, look, we want mutual success, and we're going to make it as easy as possible, as you guys said.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Just, I you know what, and bottom line, you can tell our respect and our admiration is off the charts. Just what you just do business the right way. I mean, it's just really that simple. Yeah. John Maxwell has a great line. I'll just share this and then we'll wind down, Nick. If you guys are familiar, John Maxwell wrote, 100,000 books, whatever he's written, New York Times bestsellers. He says when the Enron crisis, Nick, you were probably still in diapers. I'm just kidding. But when the Enron crisis and all that was going on, like other companies were failing, somebody went to John Maxwell and said, hey, Mac, we need you to write a book. Like the country is longing for a book, and it's about business ethics. And John Maxwell says, well, I can't do that. And they're like, John, like, we need you to write a book about business ethics. Like, why can't you do it? He goes, there's no such thing as business ethics. They're like, John Maxwell, like, dude, you're like the authority. Like, what are you talking about? There's no such thing as business ethics. He goes, there's no such thing as business ethics. It's just ethics. You either have them or you don't. It doesn't matter if you're doing business or not doing business. You either have ethics or you don't have business, or you don't have ethics. And Nick, again, I have no skin in the game. I don't know why I'm going so over the top, but at Digi-Key, I just feel like you guys are just doing it the right way. If you're a small entrepreneur out there and there's like, hey, I need somebody to look at and just like, how can I get some of this energy to improve my business? Follow a company like Digi-Key, just see how they're doing it, and just your success is going to come match it. Nick, we're going to wind down, dude. First off, hey, everybody out there, give Nick a big round of applause for absolutely crushing it today. This is, I know, Nick, you're like, man, we're going live. Like, there's no do-overs, really?
It's awesome.
So you were absolutely just a powerhouse today. We appreciate you. We applaud you. We salute you. My last question for you, my friend. I asked you who your hero was. Man, Barry Sanders, drop the mic on that one. Who or what, moving forward for the rest of the year, who or what is your inspiration? Who or what inspires you, my friend?
You know what? I use one word all the time is winning. Winning motivates me. If we want to close the full loop on the sports analogies here.
Nice.
I love winning. I love winning that next deal. I love winning over that next supplier. Nothing makes me happier. Nothing makes my team happier than contributing to the great company we're at, and that's just how we're built.
Well,
awesome.
Hey, man. Well, God bless you, dude. And hey, keep those applauses coming.
Yeah, they're coming in. They're coming in.
If you're friends with
Stephanie,
Nick,
Sean, Jenny,
Nick,
Ryan,
you just met Nick for the first time today. Let's give Nick another huge round of applause for taking time out of his busy schedule. So, Nick, we thank you. We appreciate you. Keep on crushing it, man. We're going to have you, no pressure. We're going to have you back on. We expect these numbers to keep going the same direction. How's that? Is that fair? Can you
keep on winning?
Keep on winning, brother. Keep on winning. So, all right, guys, we're going to close it out. We thank everybody out there each week for joining us. We appreciate you more than you can possibly know. And boy, just like Nick, just like Dr. Stordahl, just like everybody at Digi-Key, be someone's inspiration. Just be inspiring to somebody, and it just makes the world a better place. Damon, I told you this was going to be a powerhouse discussion.
Awesome.
Take it away, man.
Awesome. Well, Nick, thanks for being here today. Just a real special time, and to share about Digi-Key. I mean, it is a truly special company, and you said it. When you say it's a 5,000 person company that acts like 50, that's a unicorn. And when you were talking, Kurt, about the fact that 130 million website visits a year, that's 350,000 plus a day. That's incredible. And then you think of, this is in Thief River Falls, Minnesota, which is an awesome place of about 9,000 people. You guys have such a special thing in there. Does the sun shine there every day? Because it's just, because it's awesome what you guys are doing. It's such an inspiring story, and the founder's journey and everything. So that's just, thank you for sharing that today.
My pleasure.
That's great. One thing I won't bring up though is our college football history this last year, because I don't think Nick's going to like that so much, but I love what Digi-Key is doing.
I love how you saved that to the end. That was nice.
Yeah, we're just gonna. Well, we had a lot of times when we lost, so I just got to say
that's right. So, hey, Nick, hang out with us for 1 second.
Yeah, hang out with us. Thanks everyone for being here. I mean, we had John on Monday.
We have a powerhouse on Monday too. Maybe not as good as Nick, but we've got Nicole Donnelly. We're talking SEO made simple for manufacturers. On Monday. You don't want to miss it. We're going to be right back here. We have another great guest next Friday, so keep them coming. So take it.
Thanks everyone for being here. Guys. We appreciate you every week. We appreciate Nick, for coming here today, sharing just the awesome company that you're working with. It's so cool. And we'll be back again, as Kurt said. We'll be back again next week with more guests. Have a great weekend, everyone.
See you guys.